I'm Al McGhee here at YETicket.com, here with my good buddy and film critic Steve Lebowitz of the MovieNight.net. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Well, I'm kind of good at that sort of this movie because the movie we're going to talk about today is called From the World of John Wick. It's called Ballerina. And that's the whole title. It's called From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. I, I kind of like that title, but I went to look up Ballerina, couldn't find it until I put in John Wick. And, you know?
I had the same thing because apparently it was like movie back, I think in the 80s or sometime, like a movie called Ballerina, which of course is unrelated to this.
Yeah, exactly. You sure? I said, wait a minute. But anyway, and that's the whole title. And this is directed by Lee Wiseman.
Yeah, he's done some good stuff. He's done like a third Die Hard movie and some of the Underworld films. So he's no stranger to action at all.
Not at all. That's why this movie came out the way it did. But anyway, in this one, we got this actress. She's a very, very good actress. We got Anna D. Armas, and she's a very good actress. She's been in a James Bond movie. She also been in a Knives Out movie, and man, she's really been around, especially some action films. So, and she knew how to act in this film and things like that. But the story is basically this is a revenge story, but not so much revenge, but she wanted to find out what happened to her daddy. Who killed her daddy? So you want to go on and talk about it a little more, Stephen?
Right. Well, this is taking place like during John Wick 3, the third movie, because you see scenes that happen in John Wick 3 in this movie when you're acting, then events later on where it happens between John Wick's 3 and 4. And
Right.
yeah, so that's where John Wick comes in because remember people might remember some of the story that happened with John Wick. So but this girl, we saw John Wick like visit the ballerina school in part 3. That's where this like where he originally trained. So that's where she got her training, and so we see that that school and how that helps other people. Now, of course, the action scenes is what people want to talk about, and I was curious of how they because she obviously couldn't do the same kind of action that Keanu Reeves does. But one time, she gets the advice: listen, just fight like a girl, but not meaning like in a demeaning way. And actually, the end song in the movie is called "Fight Like a Girl," and she fights like a girl. And in the action scenes, all these John Wick movies, I gotta hand it to them. We've been watching action movies for decades, and it's hard to keep something fresh. I mean, we've seen it all before, so. But somehow John Wick keeps doing things. It doesn't get stale. New weapons this time, new fighting techniques. Heck, I'm not going to say what happened to these two people who take a certain kind of weapon going back and forth with each other that I've never seen in cinema before.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, getting back to that school, Angelica Houston, she's in charge of the school, and she also has an association with John Wick. But not only that, not just in this one, but also in 3 and 4, she had association and a role in John Wick 3 and 4. And that's one thing I like about that, how they put this all together. And you're right, man, the way they decided to kill people was a great thing that they did.
No, it was. I mean, the story wise, it has a good flow to it. There was some little small, slower parts in the movie. I didn't think it would move as flowy, as has much of a flow as some John Wick movies. But it's still a new franchise overall. I mean, I think she's going to get her own sequel again too. So we might get Ballerina 2 before we know it. But but this Al, summertime, time you just want to have turn your brain off, show me some fun kind of movie, and that's what Ballerina is.
Yeah, that's what Ballerina is. It's a type movie you turn your brain off, but you watch it. You watch it for, well, action. Also, you do sympathize and you do a root for this new person, this new
Yes.
personality in this film. That's why I like this. I wanted to see her succeed the best way she could, or the best way they script rolled in for this film. That's why I really enjoyed, according to the world of John Wick, Ballerina. That's why I enjoyed this one.
Now I think audiences are really going to take to it. Obviously when you do a spin-off, you don't know how that's going to how it's audiences are going to react, fan bases going to react. You think this could be just a cash grab, And a lot of times those movies are cash grabs. But this one, and obviously this will do well, but this is like a worthy part of the John Wick franchise, that whole universe. So I'm glad they did this film.
Yeah, and also too, let me just talk about some of the actors. We got Gabriel Byrne, and he plays the Chancellor in this. But
Ha,
also, we go back to the Continental. I love that place, I really
yep.
do. But you see, Ian McShane, he's in this. Winston Scott, and they brought back Lance Reddick. In fact, this was his last role
Yeah, it was.
before he went on to the other side. And also, man, this movie really had everything in it, and also every person in it that you are familiar with in John Wick.
No, yeah, by keeping having characters like Ian McShane and everyone else helps really connect that universe, and I think that's why audiences like it. If you just had like, if you had just a clip of John Wick from like part three and that's it, and maybe nobody else, I don't think you would, audience would have a positive vibe with it. But because they interwoven these things so well, yeah, audiences are gonna, you're gonna see a lot of people, give a big thumbs up, and I imagine the box office will warrant a sequel soon enough.
Exactly. Now, how do you rate this film?
Um, like I said, there was a little bit on a flow part, but otherwise, I thought it was a great film. So I'm giving it three swords out of four, Al.
I'm giving it three palm trees out of four myself.
There you go,
Like
right
I
on
said,
target
there's a
again.
few things slow, but it wasn't that slow. But like you said, some things we did see, or some things we understand what's going to happen. But I'm still giving it three palm trees out of four because this is a very good film, very good action film. And again, the lead actress, she did a great job in this film. And also, they did great writing, and the director knew exactly what we wanted it out of the film.
Exactly. Yeah, three out of four is an excellent recommendation from us. Getting 4 out of 4 is extremely difficult. 3.5 is not easy either. So no, 3 out of 4 is great. That's definitely a big recommend for the two of us. So
Eh,
this is go see that this weekend or eventually. Yes, go see John Wick, Ballerina.
Exactly. Well, Stephen, thank you very much. And again, you can see Steve's review at the movienight.net. And make sure you read it, but also, you can see me, Al McGhee, here at yeticket.com. Thank you very much.
Anytime.
This is your entertainment ticket. Latest and greatest movie reviews and interviews. This is your